Hey, welcome back, Oddie's Airsoft, and we've got another review from your favourite #1 airsoft channel. And if it's not your favourite #1 airsoft channel, don't I question it, why not? This review has been brought to you in part by Main Irish Airsoft. So what do we have here? We have the Elite Force M4A1 SportLine from Umarex, which is OEM'd by AEGs. Now, before we get into this review, you'll notice I've got my glasses. I'm going to be donning these now because we on this channel try to promote airsoft safety as best we can. We get a lot of comments on YouTube. Why do we always have glasses in all our videos? And it's simple. Again, I'm back to we're trying to promote airsoft safety. And whenever you're plinking with, mucking around with, tinkering with, or even sort of just loitering around an AEG, you need to be wearing some sort of eye protection because, let's face it, accidents can and will and do happen. So we just try and promote airsoft safety as best we can. So on go the glasses. Right, so what have we got here? This is retailing about €179. As I said, it's been made by AEGs under Umarex license. And this is one of their cheap SportLine versions. Now, from the get-go, this isn't designed for probably the majority of hardcore airsofters. This is designed for guys getting into airsoft for the first time, or for more mature airsofters to have a secondary backup gun. Now, what you're getting for your €179 is you have two 300 round mags. You get an 8.4 nickel metal hydride battery, that's 1100 milliamps. You get a trickle charger, and then you get the cleaning barrel rod, and you get the little pamphlet in English that tells you everything that you don't really need to know about your particular gun. So starting from the top, I'm not going to get into all the bits of it. This is a full plastic gun, but the barrel is metal, and there are a number of little features that are metal as well. As plastic guns go, I mean, why do you want a plastic gun? Well, do you know what? A lot of people actually kind of like them. The G&G sort of made the whole ABS plastic range very, very popular, and we've used and played with them and reviewed them, and we found them excellent. And you know what? The ABS plastic is as hard as the metal that's out there, and is as tough and won't break, won't let you down. The difference is in weight though, and this is where, you know, especially for younger guys, most young guys getting into airsoft, I've noticed, struggle with standard M4s because the weight of them over a couple of hours of gaming starts to drag on them and they're not able for it. So if you're in the market to get yourself a gun and you're just starting off and you're on the wee side, do you know what? Looking at the plastic range style guns is always going to be a good idea. So, as I said, starting from the very top, you have the typical A-pillar sight here, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like A-pillars, but do you know what? It fits the gun. You have your sights, your carry handle here. The one piece, the main sort of receiver part of the body and the pistol grip feels absolutely fantastic. There's no problems with the plasticky feel at all. It feels very, very solid. The stock on it is a little bit more plasticky, and you know, if you really wanted to be smart, you could change that out for something else if you really wanted to. One of the big letdowns for me here is this particular handguard. It really does feel plasticky, but do you know what? Look, you can get around that. You know, overall it looks solid enough, and if you really wanted to, you could probably swap this out for something that's got a little bit more oomph to it. APS do like a Riz Rail jobby that fits in there, and if you do move over to that, you probably need to use a LiPo. This will take a 9.6 or an 8.4 battery, or a myriad of LiPos. We're going to get into a chrono test in a few minutes, but just bear with me. One of the standout features for this, I mean, for a low-end budget gun, it does have some nice features, i.e. like the charging handle actually does bring back and open up the port for the hop adjustment. The hop wheel is unique to this gun. Very, very, very different. You know, as I said, externally this is quite a basic vanilla-esque type piece. Internally there's some nice little changes. Rather than the usual very sort of small star-like hop unit that you adjust the hop on, this actually has more like a G36 style drum wheel, but it's a much thinner one, and is very, very easily accessed. So, you know, it's a very unique system to this particular piece. Also on the insides here, if you ever saw the quick change spring in a Masada, the Magpul Masada that I have or had, basically you can open up the receiver here and access the back of the gearbox where there's a little sort of hex bolt that you can just undo, and the spring will just pull out and you can pop in a fresh spring. That's really handy if you're heading abroad and you're changing jurisdictions where you need to change the jewel on your gun. But to be honest with you, if you're going to be that sort of into your airsoft, you probably wouldn't be rocking out with this particular piece in the beginning. So do you know what, it's a dinky feature, but one probably that won't be used a huge amount. Do you know what, I haven't brought this into field, and nor will I be. You know, it's as I said, a budget piece, a SportLine piece, and you know, for the money that you're spending on it, it's cracking. It really looks well. And the great thing about it, whilst it is Umarex stamped, which is very lightly stamped here, it's not that usual essay that Umarex put on everything. And you know, if I had a bugbear on it, you know, I'd like to see the stamping a little bit more visual so that you can actually see the Umarex signage. As it stands, it's quite, you know, sort of nondescript. It's there, but you know, it doesn't really pop. And I think if you're going to go for an Umarex piece, it should really pop. But the flip of that is, I actually don't particularly like the essays that they normally write on, you know, the licensings that they put on top of most of their more high-end AEGs. I think they absolutely destroy the guns. So, as I said, it's a real quick look. We're going to have a look at the Chrono Test now to see what she fires at and what sort of rate of fire we'll get out. I'm going to use the 8.4 battery that it comes with for the test. Obviously, you'll get a huge jump in you know, the amount of BBs per second if you went up to a 9.6. So, as I said, this has been a quick look at the Umarex M4A1 Elite Force SportLine. You've just seen the Chrono Test. You now know what it's firing at and what sort of rate of fire the 8.4 will give you. 9.6 will give you a little bit more oomph, not a huge amount, but a little bit. And externally, do you know what? This isn't a bad looking piece. You know, in areas it feels a tad plasticky and looks a tad plasticky, but do you know what, it is bottom drawer sort of stuff, and for something that's so bottom drawer, it doesn't look too bad. Internally, Chris has assured me that, you know, Aries, I'm not a huge fan of Aries internals. They're okay, never fantastic. And do you know what, he says that this piece is, you know, in particular is not too shabby, and the internals won't sort of let you down anytime soon. Be aware though, Aries always tend to muck around with the trigger contacts and the trigger switches that they put into their guns. This is no different. Apparently this is a one-piece unit that is similar to an M249 jobby. Hey, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not opening this up to have a look because I'll never get it back together again. So from the top, you know, it's a budget gun. Does everything it's meant to do, does it fairly well. It's going to suit the beginner more than the more seasoned airsofter, but that's where the market's at the moment, you know. So if you're in the mood for a tan-ish or dark earthish gun that's in the M4 style, have a look at this Elite Force jobby from Umarex. It's not a bad rendition of an M4A1. So this has been Oddie's Airsoft, and we're going to catch you very shortly for some more reviews. See you soon, lads.